Yeah, hello there, you mongrels. It's the TTP Field Manual podcast brought to you by me. It's Joshy. I'm joined as always by the lovely, smells good sometimes, Jonny. Hello, Jonny.
Only sometimes.
Only sometimes.
Nah, I work pretty hard. I understand.
Nah, how are you, boo?
Oh, getting through Easter bit by bit.
Have you had lots of chocky?
I have had very little chocky because losing weight is not an easy process.
No. And the Easter Bunny doesn't want you to do that.
And also I have a 5-year-old, so he gets first precedence. How about you? How was your Easter?
Easter's still going, mate. For the first time in a long, long time, I have managed to have the big long weekend. You, me, several other mates of ours were in industries that allow us to have public holidays off and not have to haul ass in a kitchen.
Oh, isn't it wonderful?
It's pretty great. But it's been still pretty busy. Lots of socializing, family events. We managed to eke out a hobby day with the other mates the other day, and after this we're going to go play more of our Crusade campaign, aren't we, Johnny?
Damn straight. 1,400 points.
1,400 points. Yes, we've gone up to 1,400 points. I was going to ask you a question. Yes, my favorite question to ask you. How's your hobbying been?
Surprisingly, I've got stuff done.
Woohoo!
I've been building terrain using the help of my 3D printer that was gifted to me by a friend. So I'm slowly putting together a bunch of terrain. I've started painting my Armies of Parade force, which blows my mind, frankly, and I'm pretty happy with the color scheme.
Looks cool.
Yeah, so, no, my hobbying's been surprisingly good having a long weekend. How about yours?
I just want to throw it back to you for a sec. You didn't even mention the coolest part of your terrain thing. It's propped up by drinking cans.
Yeah, I'm using my energy drink and alcohol addiction to fuel my hobbying. Yeah, no, it's a whole bunch of like little greeblies and pipes, and everything is built around the size of a drinking can, so you can use the can as like the main structure and save on time and filament, and build some pretty cool stuff.
Really clever. It's really clever.
Like, wait till you see my latest project, which is like a bunch of fuel silos that are all like lined up.
Oh, that'd be real fun.
Yeah, some line of sight blocking terrain,
Yeah. For my answer to your hobby question, though, I am about 1 tank away from having 2,000 points of sisters built, and that will be the project of that phase of the project done until I decide to get my butt into gear for painting. So that's exciting. I had a snap long weekend indulgent purchase of a knight, but not just any knight, an Aeldari Wraith Knight to sort of plink into my slowly growing mega faction of Aeldari units I'm just collecting for funsies. But it's nice to have a model which is chonk for once rather than little baby.
It's a cool looking knight too. Very skinny.
Elves, man.
But hot damn, it's impressive looking and looks like a blast to paint.
Yeah. Besides the building and lack of painting, I actually have managed to play a couple of games since normal hobby days. New mate and I had a little training match, if you will, where we spread out a normal 5-round game over a couple of evenings and just really slowed it down, talked tactics, explained stratagems, synergies of their army and their data sheets, and it was really good. Funnily enough, all the terrain that we would play with normally was at a different residence, so we managed to dig out of storage a bunch of like kids' toys, like the big castle toy pieces that you would give to like a 6-year-old and make like big fantasy castle back in the day. I think it's called Imaginext or something.
Sure
just something that was never thrown out. And the scale was perfect.
That's super cool.
It was perfect scale, like all these little fantasy cartoon castle bits, just the right height and the right size. It was meant to be.
Now we just gotta 40Kize them, Start cutting into them, putting stuff on, turn them into real terrain.
But before we get into our main topic of today, just want to remind everybody that we have an Instagram. It's the TTP Field Manual. We'll post there at some point. Just follow and then we'll be inspired. But besides that, we are doing book club as a little bonus episode every month-ish. We'll be doing Fulgrim at the next one. That's HH Book 5.
Big emphasis on ish. It really comes down to how quickly we can both get through the books and fit it into the lineup and what we decide to do, but expect Fulgrim in the next couple of weeks because I've finished it, Joshy's almost finished it, and we'll want to get that recorded as soon as we are both at the same point.
It's a hard one for me to get through. Normally these audiobooks, they're like 10 to 12 hours. This one's 15 and a bit, I believe, and at least half the book didn't really make me want to keep listening to it. But then there's back half of the book. Yeah, the back half of this book is this wild roller coaster that I'm really actually like hooked into, but busy weekend.
Yeah, right. And I definitely understand where you're coming from with that.
Shall we head on to our main topic today, mate?
Sure, let's do it. What is our main topic for today, Joshy?
At the tail end of last episode, the Armageddon Out of Here episode where we recapped the wars of the planet known as Armageddon. You can go check that out. It's a great episode. Had a lot of fun doing that one. I say we're going to talk about the 13th Penal Legion, aka the Last Chances, but I'll do that next week. The script isn't quite locked in, and I don't want to just like, and then they did this.
Yeah.
And then they did that.
You're pretty excited to discuss it.
Oh, it's a load of fun. A lot of early Black Library cheese.
Cool. Cool.
Today, we will talk about what's next. What do we think the factions of Warhammer 40,000, the ones you can collect and build and play, what else should they get in the future? As the game continues on, all these armies and factions get things added to them. What do we, Joshy and Jonny, think they should get next? And that's today's topic.
Nice. Well, in that case, where do we start? Because there are a lot of factions to talk about.
Before we get into the what should everyone get next, I do have a couple of sort of icebreaker questions for the topic.
Oh, yeah?
Number one, Jonny. What factions do you believe are most in need of expansion? Not update, but expansion.
There's two that come to mind really quickly, and one might actually send you for a bit of a loop.
Okay.
One is World Eaters. I think World Eaters should have got more than one dude coming out in the next couple of weeks. I was shocked that was all they showed off was one possessed captain.
Yeah, boiled my blood.
I'm not a World Eaters player, but I felt real bad for all the World Eaters players out there who were promised a second wave of miniatures and all they got was one dude.
Do you remember after the announcement show, our one World Eaters friend was just going off in the group chat GW, blah, 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 expletive, GW, blah, 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 expletive.
In saying that, Slaughterbound is a pretty cool looking dude.
It is.
The other one...
You had a second option?
Yeah, the other one, I would like to see a second-ish wave / fleshing out of the Imperial agents.
Haha!
I feel like their release wasn't handled as well as it could have been, and it just feels half-baked. It's like
wrong.
We have all these models, they're all just like hanging around, let's just chuck them in a book together. I think if they had given them like an expansion on the range, thrown them in, it would have made for a really cool army.
I agree. Funnily enough, World Eaters was my numero uno number one choice for this question. Imperial Agents was my 6th.
I mean, let's not forget about Votann, right?
That's number 2.
Because I definitely forget about Votann.
In between Votann and Imperial Agents is obviously 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Can you guess what 3, 4, and 5 are for me?
Emperor's Children.
No.
Ah, you're okay with their first cut?
Oh, I'm okay with their first wave. Emphasis on wave. If that's the range, then I'm sorely disappointed. But I'm looking at this as waves, ignoring what happened with World Eaters. I'm ignoring the metric of that for this question. I'll tell you.
Go on.
Coming in number 3, Thousand Suns. I think they need a big expansion. They need something else going on. They don't have many units.
They can be very boring looking on the table because it's like 3 or 4 dudes. I do understand. I just didn't want to be a Thousand Suns shill today.
I think, I think World Eaters and Emperor's Children are newish armies, and you can't really be like too miffed that there isn't more just yet. But Death Guard have heaps.
Oh, man.
Thousand Suns came out before all 3 of the other.
The cult factions.
And they're like sorely lacking.
They are. They're definitely 3rd on my list as well. And then what about 4th?
Ynnari.
That's cheating.
Is it?
They are not a faction. They are a sub-faction of 2 factions.
Yeah, they need an expansion. They need to have more of an identity.
No, you want a new army. That is what Ynnari would be, is a new army.
All right, fine. I have 5 options then. Coming in at the new number 4 is Harlequins.
Josh. I know you started collecting Aeldari. I get it.
No, I've started collecting Aeldari Quins. Get it right?
Ynnari Quins.
Like a third of my Aeldari is Harlequins.
That's because that's where you started.
Yeah. And then they took them away from them being their own army. Hence they need an expansion.
Hey, they got a detachment.
Ugh, a whole detachment. Nah, but
that's
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. That's just what I put down for my question.
I know. We gotta have fun though, right?
We'll give ideas later, but I have question number 2 for the icebreakers here. What factions do you think are most in need of an update?
Oh, that's easy.
Drukhari
and Grey Knights. If Grey Knights do not get a Primaris upgrade soon, Grey Knight players might just kill themselves.
I think they're already doing after the release window where they got all the space wolves, I went to the Grey Knight subreddit. It was not a pretty place.
And all they got was an upgrade sprue for their baby carrier.
Yeah.
Man, that was sad.
We're in agreement. My Grey Knights just has next to it in brackets true scale. That's it. That's the whole note.
Yeah.
Grey Knights true scale.
They're smaller than Chaos Space Marines.
But yeah, Grey Knights, whilst you can, grab most of their units, they don't feel quite right. They're all a little small and
rectangular,
a little old looking compared to the other Marines that exist, both the good ones and the bad ones. You figure out who's who. Drukhari, you can get a decent amount of units, but like half the actual army you can't really grab. You can't really grab them. We had a friend over the weekend that pulled the trigger, got into the hobby with a Drukhari combat patrol, really excited to get into it, and then started looking through the data sheets. He's like, oh, Beastmaster sounds cool. What's that guy look like? And I just said, don't worry about it.
Ooh, hope you like Kit Bashin', friend.
But I have something between Dark Elder and Grey Knights.
Okay, and they're not Dark Elder, they're Drukhari. Come on, we don't want to get sued here.
Old school, new school, come at me. So, Grey Knights, you can at least get all of your units just about. You can't easily get all of your demons, though, can you?
Oh, mate. I won't lie, demons were on the list up until very recently.
At least they have 6 detachments you can play, and they're good. They keep winning tournaments.
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, but that answers the first couple of questions. Should we now spend our time talking about ideas to pamp up these various things?
Yeah, for sure.
Where shall we start, Johnny? Imperium Space Marines? Imperium? Chaos? Elves? Xenos?
Let's start with the easiest one to go first.
Space Marines Imperium.
What do they need? Nothing. Can move on.
While you would, not be flamed for saying such things considering the immensity of their range. I think there are still ideas.
There are, but I mean, in the middle of all of these new refreshes and model releases, they're like, oh, by the way, don't worry, Space Marines, you still get a new drop pod.
Yeah, drop pod wasn't on my list of ideas, if I'm being honest.
Fortifications, am I right?
I don't understand how the newly announced Space Marine drop pod, which is a big portable coming off the board piece of your army, the doors are stuck open in the new model. Why? They look so much cooler as just like this pod that's crashed down like a missile warhead, but now it's just like a weirdly open concept Space Marine living room.
Because they want to show all the details they put on the inside, Josh. They put a lot of work in, okay?
Yeah. Well, so Jonny, the episode's not let's complain about Space Marines, it's what could they get next? And I have
the answer isn't
3
drop
ideas. Pod. It's not drop pod. It never needed to be a drop pod.
It did not. But go on. What do you think Space Marines as a whole requires?
I have 3 ideas.
Yep.
The first one is the most sensible. I think, much like what you alluded to with Word Bearers in Chaos, the Codex compliant Space Marines, which is your normal Space Marines,
yep.
They have detachments for the other good boys. You've got the sneaky infiltrating Raven Guard, the flame-throwing green-clad Salamanders, etc. Why don't they have at least 1 or 2 more generic units and maybe another character, such as a Raven Guard Shadowmaster, or a White Scar Stormseer, or an Iron Hands unique Dreadnought? Something like that to actually make you want to lock in to like Iron Hands or Raven Guard. Right now there's like one character, one singular character for each of these sort of
compliant chapters.
Yeah, you could do them as upgrade sprues. You could not do them and just have like, you know, this is Iron Hands, dude. You know, you could do either one of those, but they haven't really done it, and that's a question mark for me.
On top of that, I think it would be a very cool idea if they released, and they could do it fairly easily, as one kit that can make a series of different characters from the lore. Where it's like a very similar body, but it's like, depending on how you load it out, this is this character. And just like tick off a couple of boxes with one kit.
Stop, I can only get so excited, Jonny. Dual kits? Triple kits? Ooh.
Be like, yeah, it's still only for one faction because Space Marine compliant chapters kind of exist as one faction. But even what you see in tournaments is you just play Ultramarines because they have the best character lineup. And everyone else is kind of lacking. So I think a couple of kits that can just tick off a couple of boxes for the other factions all in one go would be a very interesting way of getting these other factions to playable without dropping Primarchs.
And that exact line of thinking is other episode scripts I've been tinkering away at since we started this podcast. So keep an ear out for that. You want my second idea?
For Space Marines? Go on.
Hear me out. So, people have been pretty frustrated with the whole Primaris replacing Firstborn thing, right?
I don't get it, but sure.
Why don't they resculpt Firstborn models? You keep your tactical squad, you keep your Land Raiders, your Vindicators, all those OG Marines, but you scale them up a little bit. You keep those sort of older armor styles that people really resonate with, the whole like Mark 5, Mark 6, you know, not the brand new modern Primaris armors, but you keep the Firstborn around because not all of these Space Marine chapters are going to be completely Primaris, right? And there's so many people whinging still to this day, oh, but my Firstborns. So why not just keep them around?
I mean, I do understand why Games Workshop is moving away from the Firstborns. They are very old sculpts, and as the scale increases, there's not really a need for them anymore. I do like what they've done with the new Primaris Marines. I just think they need a little bit more personality, which the Firstborn definitely had.
Yeah, that's my idea.
But yes, if you're trying to keep people happy, Firstborn veterans or something like that would be a pretty cool little, like, sub-faction.
Yeah, or even just data sheets, maybe they buff each other if you're more Firstborn dominant, like a detachment.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like, sub-faction, detachment. Or, what if Firstborn Marines moved to Deathwatch, specifically?
Oh.
What if they focused Deathwatch into, like, a Firstborn Marine as opposed to what it currently exists as? Like, all of the people that don't want to become Primaris Marines because they're veterans of all of this war and they're already so good get moved to the Deathwatch, while all the newer guys end up as Primaris to bump up the power,
I'm so glad that I have you around, Johnny, because I completely forgot Deathwatch in my notes.
Well, we just ticked them off. It's fine. What do they need? Firstborn lineup moves to Deathwatch. And just, like, rework the way Deathwatch works a little bit.
I like it. I love it, actually. That's great.
And then all of the old-fashioned players that are in love with their Firstborn Marines still have an army.
It's just Deathwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's great. Brings me to my third idea.
Oh, yeah?
A kill team. Specifically, the Legion of the Damned.
A lot of people do like the Legion of the Damned, and it would make for a sick upgrade sprue.
You don't need more than, like, a squad of them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a character. You don't need upgrade sprues for vehicles. You just need a squad. A singular unit that has some freaky stuff like Feel No Pain 4-up or whatever. But you introduce them as a kill team so that every individual can still look super unique.
I think that is a very good idea for Legion of the Damned.
And that's my Space Marine Codex compliant ideas, Johnny.
Cool. Well, let's bash out some non-compliant chapters and move on to the more interesting stuff, shall we?
Yeah, pick one of the other 4 non-compliant Codacy mobs.
Well, we kind of already covered Deathwatch and Grey Knights.
Hence why I said 4.
Let's kick it off with Black Templar, as they haven't got a 10th edition release yet.
I have a couple of ideas. Actually, it's just one, but it's a dual kit.
I don't know a lot about Black Templar, but I understand why people think they're pretty cool. They have some cool looking models.
Mm-hmm. So, Black Templars. What do you think of when you think of Black Templars? Probably some chaplains?
Yeah, all of that really religious racist stuff.
Mm-hmm. And they have a eternal crusade yada yada thing going on.
Christianity.Space Marine.
What if, Johnny, a dual kit centered around a Black Templars Chaplain Dreadnought?
Dreadnoughts. I am a big fan of Dreadnoughts.
A Chaplain Dreadnought with just this big, like, skull coffin motif, maybe like a huge Dreadnought style, like, mace.
I could get behind this.
But the alternative build is a scaled up version of the old school Venerable Dreadnought that you could run in other chapters if you so choose, but in Black Templars, the Black Templar Venerable Dreadnought is just better.
I do appreciate similar but better, especially in the world of, like, releasing 40k kits.
But that's all I have for Black Templars. I think they're in a good place. They got their Crusaders, they got their Sword Brethren, they got a couple of epic heroes. They got Helbrecht, Grimaldus.
Yeah.
They got a couple of unique characters, the Castellan, the Marshal. You only need something a bit sort of heavier, like a Dreadnought, to really round out what they got going on.
And I feel like Dreadnoughts don't get as much love as they used to get in terms of personality.
A Chaplain Dreadnought would fly off the shelves.
Oh, yeah. It'd be hard to keep in stock.
Any other ideas?
I don't know a lot about Black Templar, and I kind of like that idea, and I kind of want to stick with that. I think that is a very good idea, and I will try not to steal it for all the other chapters.
Mm-hmm. So
let's move over to their green cousins.
Green cousins. Well, this one was actually quite easy for me to figure out, actually.
What do you feel like Dark Angels need?
So, Dark Angels have a relatively rich tapestry of models and characters over the editions. They've been around since the olden days.
Yep.
And whilst most people were pretty hype around the recent newer models, the Deathwing Knights, you had the Lion, Azrael, etc., there's still a lot missing. You've got the Dark Angels version of the captain known as the Company Master. You have the Dark Angels version of a chaplain, which is known as an Interrogator Chaplain. You have the Ravenwing Black Knights and other niche Ravenwing vehicles, which are still old if you can even find them, as well as the person who leads the Ravenwing Samael on his big speeder thing. He's an old model. Ezekiel, the Dark Angels Chief Librarian, he is still old and small and hard to come by. And then I do have a wild pick as well, but I'll let you say what you think about those ideas.
I was going to say, because I did think about this as well, was Ravenwing Black Knights. I think their kit could look really good with an upgrade. I know it is still a very good looking kit, but it's still a very old kit, and I would really like to see what they could do moving forward, because it doesn't quite match the new aesthetic that they've gone with a lot of the Dark Angel stuff.
Yeah, the Blood Angels, they had a couple of generic things. They had their Sanguinary Priest, they had their own Blood Angels captain, but the Dark Angels didn't really get their generics, and just the whole Raven Wing side of the army just doesn't really exist in the modern range, unfortunately, which is odd considering they're, poised as kind of one half of the unique style of the Dark Angels. And
I would love a Ravenwing expansion. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's essentially what my notes boil down to, is Ravenwing plus generics plus Ezekiel.
Ezekiel. Yeah.
Well, Ezekiel, he is the Dark Angels, chief librarian, but he's still pretty up there in terms of power. He, would be an equivalent of the Blood Angels Mephiston or the Ultramarines Tigurius. He's up there.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not up there in the shelves at the shop. But I do have a wild pick.
Yeah.
I want you to go onto Google Image or whatever you use and type up the Land Raider Ares, as in God of War Ares. Where is that? That is a Dark Angel specific pattern of Land Raider. Where is the upgrade sprue for a Land Raider Ares, Johnny?
It's pretty sick looking Land Raider, not gonna lie.
Do you notice its plasma cannons and its Vindicator battle tank?
Sure do.
Where is it?
I would be pretty happy with Land Raider with Vindicator crossover. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. Make some Sponson turrets with plasma. I seem to be getting my Land Raiders confused. This isn't the big plasma one, but it's still pretty sick regardless. Maybe you do Vindicator with big plasma turret. Boom, done. Easy. Both. Make it a bit more expensive, but it's tougher and it hits harder. Done.
Yeah.
Big Dark Angel super heavy. There you go.
Well, moving on, let's talk about the Blood Angels.
Whoa! So, again, I have ideas.
I'm glad, because I knew I would be lacking in the department of Space Marines, and I am kind of just here for the ride,
I got you, boo.
And is the answer Jump Marines with wings?
You're a little turd, Johnny.
I know.
You're a little turd,
I know how
Johnny.
to push buttons, all right?
You've just told all of our audiences to turn off the podcast, Johnny. I think the Sanguinary Guard just needed wings. I think the upscale's good, the spears are cool, the heads can be painted nicely. Just wear the wings. Wear the actual wings, not the spoiler fins on your jetpack. Where are the actual wings?
But also, they didn't get a huge lineup this time round. It was nice.
It was hidden in upgrade sprues.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was just very upgrade sprue heavy.
Yeah. Well, there's not too many things that came to mind to add back into Blood Angels. They are a bit less unique in a range compared to the Dark Angels. They got the bloody stuff, the Baal Predator, the Death Company, but we kind of still have those stuff. My thoughts, I have 4 thoughts. We'll do 3, and then I'll give you the wild pick afterwards.
Can I give you mine then, in case there's crossover? Because I only really have one for these guys. I would have liked an upgrade, not anything new, an upgrade to the Terminator Assault Squad for Blood Angels. Moving them up into the new scale of Terminators with those big, chunky claws, I think that would look so cool. Having like a fast-moving Terminator blob of power claws, I think that would look so cool in the new Terminator scale.
So funny you say that.
That's why I had to jump in there, alright? I had a feeling.
I'm really glad you jumped in. Shows you doing some homework. Hee. But my wild pick was actually much like how Kill Team's done the Ashes of Faith with the Chaos Cold and the Inquisition, and are about to do the Typhon with the Tyrannid mob versus the Servitors. Mm-hmm. Why do they not? And we've talked about this before. Why do they not do a Space Hulk Kill Team thing? You have Gene Stealers galore, versing Assault Terminators, of course, daubed as Blood Angels. You could use that kit for the other factions, of course, but like Blood Angel Assault Terminators, maybe they're all the Lightning Claws. Only the Blood Angels get the claws, maybe. Something like that. Chef's kiss.
I like the idea, but I would like more than just the claws if they're going to do a bespoke kill team.
I'm sure they would have options being kill team.
Yeah. And I mean, Terminators are not represented in kill team, so I think having like 3 or 4 Terminators would be a really cool kill team option as well, especially after they remove Custodes from kill team.
And there's also a Blood Angels character, the captain of the first company, also known as the Archangels Company.
Mm-hmm.
The company is called the Archangels, but there is a individual known as the Shield of Baal, real name Arenos Kalean.
I see why they gave him a nickname.
Yep, he is a Terminator captain. He's got art. He's had a miniature before. You just got to put him back in. Make him a potential leader, whether that's a separate kit or part of the assault box. I don't mind. You put him in, boom, you've got Assault Terminators and you got another character.
Yep.
Besides them, I thought Librarian Dreadnought should have a comeback.
Okay.
It's sort of a classic favorite of Blood Angels players to have the Librarian Dreadnought.
The idea of a Librarian Dreadnought is terrifying to me, and I understand why people would like that. Because I kind of want to...
You've seen it, right?
I've seen the old one, but like...
It's got a Grey Knight Force Spear for a weapon. How sick is that?
But also, as I said before, a lot of the cool Dreadnoughts kind of disappeared, and I would like to see maybe like a range of upgrade sprues released for different forces that just bring personality and alternatives back to Dreadnoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I do agree a Librarian Dreadnought would be terrifying and awesome at the same time.
My other idea is doing Gabriel Seth in a new model. He's still around, but his old model is Firstborn. It's small, it's tiny, it's out of production, it's Legends. Bring Gabriel Seth back and do like a little Flesh Terror supplement. Nothing crazy, just maybe like a specialized version of like Assault Marines that have like the Eviscerators or something, the two-handed chainsaws. Like something that's not too out of the ordinary, but enough to be like, yeah, cool, look at them. Those are Flesh Terrors.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, they're called World Eaters. Get used to it.
Yeah. That's it though. That's my ideas.
No, I appreciate it. That is some solid ideas for the Angels of Death.
Space Wolves though.
Space Wolves. The last of our Space Marine factions that we will discuss.
Mm-hmm.
They are getting a new range, and it was just revealed, and it's a fairly expansive little range release. But you know what I feel was distinctly missing?
Characters?
Wolven. No.
If people didn't turn off with the same word, they're gone now.
No, I was going to say characters. Specifically, what is his name? The big Dreadnought guy.
There's 2. There's Bjorn, who's been around forever, and Murderfang, who they keep on ice.
Bjorn was the one I was thinking of. But what, Porcanolostos? They could do a multi-kit that can build one or the other.
Are you reading my document?
No, I'm not. But you and I hang out a lot.
We do.
We talk a lot. We watch content together a lot.
We are such good mates. My original notes for Space Wolves was I wrote this document before the Space Wolf release. That's how long I've been sitting on this
Episode.
bunch of ideas. I honestly thought they would save Space Wolves for something in 11th edition because they've done some Blood Angels, they've done some Dark Angels. You know, I was really thinking they would wait because they've also been doing the Chaos Legions. There's just a lot of Marines. Save Space Wolves. Alas, they haven't done that. What have they not announced? They have not announced much in the way of the epic characters. You got Logan, Grimdark, Chapter Master, still old. You've got... they did actually announce a Wolf Priest or a Rune Priest. Surprisingly, there was no mention of them having the option to be run as the classic Ulrich the Slayer, who's my favorite Space Wolf, so if they don't bring him out, I'm never playing Space Wolves.
Were you ever going to play Space Wolves?
No.
Exactly.
But following that, you know, we've got the potential for a Wolf Lord epic hero in Crom Dragon Gaze, who has his own sort of, you know, company of Space Wolves.
What a name.
We've got Crom Dragon Gaze. Yeah. We have a Librarian Terminator character named Niall Stormcaller. He's on par with the other First Legion librarians we touched upon before. Similar level, just real Viking style. We already talked about Bjorn / Murderfang. We have got some wolves coming in, but I think they didn't announce any wolf riders as a cavalry, which is pretty instrumental to the Space Wolf identity. You could have potentially a Wolf Lord dual kit of the epic character Canis Wolfborn, which I'm pretty sure just means Teeth Wolfborn. Or Wolfborn.
Yep.
Wolfborn. We are getting some of the elites with the Headhunters, but classically you have Space Wolf Terminators known as the Wolf Guard, and there is another epic hero, a Terminator captain called Arjak Rockfist. Yep.
Nice.
They did announce Blood Claws, which I think are the initiate style of Space Wolf. I honestly could have seen them hold them off as like a kill team, because I think if they are the initiates, they could be a little weaker and go into kill team. A person who typically leads Blood Claws is another epic hero called Lucas the Trickster, who I'm fairly sure has his own novel series. So, like, there's a lot of epic heroes, Johnny, that there's no mention on. And, like, they've had models in the past. Are they getting models again? I don't know.
I guess you'll have to wait to see who gets shifted to Legends.
Not the Legends graveyard. That's my most extensive list of marine ideas because of how lacking Space Wolves were.
I'm surprised you had that much for them, honestly.
I do my research, boo.
That's it. Well, that rounds out Space Marines.
Finally.
Now, we could jump to the Imperium, but let's mix it up a little bit, and let's talk about some Xenos races.
Alright. Which one?
Let's start at the top with your current favourite of the Xenos. Let's discuss Aeldari.
Oh, okay. I've started to put elves separate from Xenos because they've got, like,
so much going
factions and, like, 3 split factions.
Hence why I thought we'd start with them, because they have probably a fairly extensive list compared to the others for you. The answer is, as you mentioned before, Ynnari support.
I got ideas.
Go on then.
Shall we start with the baby Aeldari factions then?
Sure.
Alright, Ynnari. What's their style? Necromancy. They bring back elves from the dead. They are a sort of pseudo-cult of faith within the Aeldari and Elven society. Some people like them, some people don't like them. The laws shafted them, so they're not getting much in the way of overall support. What can we do to bring them back? Give them like a couple of kits to sort of be like, look, see, they're more than just a couple of characters leading other armies, you know? What could we have? I have some ideas. We have revenants. These could be elite necromantic Aeldari aspect warriors that they've risen from the dead, but they got a bit more magic behind them now. We have, on the opposite side of the spectrum, what could be Drakari back from the dead. Let's call them withers or something, like blood elves or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
As well, they are known to have some exodites that sort of support them. You know, they give them little campsites that they can hang out on, etc. So what have we introduced? Druids, exodite farseers.
It's a pretty cool idea.
Those are just my ideas. We got something to represent Aeldari, something to represent Drakari, and then a little tease of some exodites.
Yeah, no, sick.
Any ideas yourself?
Yanari, this is your ball game, my friend.
Harlequins or Corsairs?
Oh, you broke Corsairs up as well.
I actually didn't, for one particular reason.
For Corsairs, I would like just a character. Just give us one Corsair character. Because they have some interesting characters and have had in the past. But currently we don't have one.
So, in my research for this, Corsairs used to have a relatively sizable Forge World range. They would have some flying troops, they'd have some other sort of individuals. We don't need to come up with much in the way of new Corsairs when the blueprint is already there in their library of models, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely how I feel, is let's get some updates to Corsairs.
I don't really have to tell you what's there, mainly because I didn't write it down.
That's fine.
But they exist. Corsairs have models in the past. Just bring them back. If you like Corsairs, the Aeldari pirates that, you know, attract elves of all walks of life, but they don't want to be necromancers. They just want to sail the void on their little ships. They have heaps of stuff out there. If you know, you know. Done.
Cool. All right, let's get through Aeldari.
Aeldari or Harlequins?
Sorry, yep, Harlequins and then Aeldari, even though they are the same faction.
I have ideas.
Yes, you do, Mr. Harlequins come first.
You can't blame
me. No, go for it.
So,
show me what
if
you
you were to do a Harlequins army, I have ideas. So, we have an avatar for normal Aeldari in the Avatar of Cain.
Yep.
We have an avatar for Aeneid, the god of the dead, for the Yinari. It's called the Incarnate.
Which is a sick model.
Right. What if the Harlequins had an avatar of their own? The Fane of Kegarak. Imagine an avatar with puppet strings dangling something. Maybe they are emerging from like a mirror or something. But you could do something really cool with the sculpt where the actual mirror has a three-dimensionality to it, and there could be like masks behind it inside the mirror. You know, just a really like visually illusory kind of sculpt. I think that would be so cool.
I dig it.
As well, you could bring back one of the original Harlequin models back when it was Rogue Trader and not Warhammer 40k, the High Avatar. You could do something kind of funky with how they do Daughters of Cain, Marathi, where you have the small Marathi and she can swap places with her giant snake form Titanic unit Marathi. You could do something like that with the High Avatar and the Fane of Kegarak, because there's nothing funnier than thinking your opponent is going to fight some dude, but then all of a sudden, it's the Avatar of the Laughing God.
See, I actually really like that idea. And they have shown that they're open to this sort of idea in, like, Canis Rex, for example. It'd just be the other way around. Like, maybe it's a prerequisite you have to meet in-game, and at that point, she transforms into the Avatar, you know, in the same way that when Canis Rex pops out of his friend when it dies.
Absolutely.
I like that
I have some
idea.
other ideas.
That's okay.
I have some other ideas based around the sort of stylings of the Harlequins, which, if you don't know, the Harlequin troops, or masks as they call them, go off of a sort of a philosophical approach. They are either a more wholesome light-based troop, they could be a more sadistic, evil, dark-based troop, or they can be kind of this elusive, aloof, twilight-based troop. And I think we kind of need something to really hone in those identities a little bit. If you were to bring back Harlequins, you could have detachments based around light, twilight, and dark, much like they sort of had when they were an army. For light, I think it'd be fun to focus around some aerial stuff. You could have aerial Harlequins known as mirages. I just came up with this. You could have ranged Harlequins that are known as apparitions because they're so far away you can barely tell they're there.
Mm-hmm.
For the twilight, you could have maybe some puppeted Wraithbone warriors. You know, you could have the Wraith constructs of the Aeldari, but maybe they're adorned with like funky masks and multiple arms that are coming in weird directions because you can't quite pin them down. It's so funny. And then for the dark, you could have some more fear-based constructs such as like little vehicles of the Harlequins, but they're based around like your classic scary creatures like spider crawlers or like snake bikes, you know, something that's like not quite vehicle, not quite animal, just to play on the psyche. And you could have maybe like a mime, like a deathly mime who is like a melee threat.
I would love a character mime for Harlequins. I think that is a fantastic idea.
Like no weapons, just hands, but like if you fight them, you die.
It's like pure psycho energy.
Whatever damage you do to the mime, it does back to you. Imagine that.
No, I like it.
So that's my own homebrew extension to Harlequins right there.
Do you feel like we need to cover Aeldari craft worlds, considering, one, they just got a pretty sizable release? Let's just...
Very briefly.
I was going to say, let's just hit the nail on the head. One of their aspect leaders is missing.
He's hiding in the pipes.
He's hiding in the Legends datasheets.
Karandras, where'd you go?
Where are you, Karandras? They're like, hey, look, here's all the new aspect warriors and their leaders. Psych.
So my notes for Aeldari are very slim, Johnny, because we've been blessed with a couple of good range refreshes.
They did well. Mm-hmm.
But there is room. Karandras needs to come back. There are a couple of other characters that have disappeared to Legends as well. We have Elic Nightspear, a sort of Exodite-ish ranger character who leads rangers historically.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anyone for that role since Elic Nightspear went bye-bye. Prince Iriel is also another character that went bye-bye. They have a loose affiliation with one of the craft worlds, but have kind of since gone off to do their own Corsairs thing. We also have the Forge World stuff, the Shining Spears, which are the... Shining Spears are the bike riders. I meant the Shadow Spectres. They are the sort of jetpack, long-range, antimatter, rifle-wielding, ghostly aspect warriors, and their Phoenix Lord Irilith. They were a Forge World mob.
Oh.
The Shining Spears do actually have a mention of a Phoenix Lord called Drastanta, who has never had a model, so get on that. And as well with Forge World, they went super heavy into, well, super heavies. The Aeldari used to have all these mega vehicles that in lore are referenced as the engines of Vol. Just super tanks, you know? They're called Cobra, Scorpion, Lynx, just named after animals, but they are super heavy vehicles. Now, if you wanted to, one of the minor craft worlds, Ime Lock, that's their whole shtick, is building these things. Off you go. Done.
Cool.
That's it.
Drukhari.
That's Aeldari. Oh, a bit more here.
I'm trying to get rid of all the big ones so we can smash out a couple of quick ones, right?
Yeah. I just wrote Lamau everything.
Drukhari need a range refresh. What they have is, it does hold up pretty well, most of it. Their Incubi is sick. They have some cool characters. Their boats are awesome. Like, all their vehicles are cool. I would like to see a expansion on the homunculi outside of one character and, like, 2 units. Like, flesh them out as a sub-faction. I think that would be really cool to see. That was my go-to for Drukhari, was if I had to pick, I wanted to see a fleshing out of the homunculi, because I think they have some really fascinating lore in a really dark and twisted way.
Oh, yeah.
What about you? Anything stand out other than everything?
There are things that I think you really need to put back into Drukhari to give them a bit of the identity. The Court of the Archon is a pretty beloved formation where you have the Archon and a bunch of the kind of Drukhari mercenary people. For example, these are real things that used to exist and you can't really get very often. The Court of the Archon included Lamayan, which is a sort of Drukhari cult of poisons.
Yep.
Like lady. There are Medusae, which are webway native psychic jellyfish-like creatures that are sort of locked into a suit to give them a humanoid appearance, but they are like psychic parasites. There is a miniature of that in the range once upon a time. Bring it back. You have the Slith, which are a minor Xenos snake people. Can't imagine what the inspiration was there. But the Slith, you could bring them back. You could call them the Lair. I don't care. Bring them back. Have your Court of the Archon. Beastmaster and the associated beast, the Beastmaster's Beastmast, look old as heck. Bring them back. The giant Tantalus, big Cabal boat, was in Forge World. Just went to Legends. Bring it back.
They can't pull everything out of Legends, alright? We can't just keep being like Forge World and Legends. Just do it.
I say that because people have these models.
I know. I'm just teasing.
And you don't need to work very hard if you've already got stuff to work off of. I'm making GW have less work here.
No.
However, despite some stuff being missing, except for maybe the homunculi, a lot of the various aspects have models that are fine. You could add to them. I don't know exactly what units to add to them. I'm not a huge Drukhari lore buff. But there are some epic heroes that, a lot of people go nuts for epic heroes, whether it's a paint project or something on the tabletop. You can bring Big Boy himself, Asdrubael Vect, bring him back. You could have Lady Aurelia Malice, who is sort of Asdrubael's kind of nemesis, sort of second most powerful-esque Archon. Funnily enough, Johnny, there has been rumors of her having a sprue spotted in the wild that has not been confirmed or denied. There is the leader of the Mandrakes that had lore, Kera Druak, known as the Decapitator. And there was a witch cult character known as Baron Sathonix, who I think was a bit of a rival to Space Wolfman Lucas the Trickster. There you go. There's some ideas, GW. Off you pop.
Cool.
Any ideas? What do you think about that, Johnny?
I think it's all super cool. I do want to go back for just a moment. There is
Please.
An Aeldari character that I would really like to see get a model on the tabletop.
Who that?
It's my least favorite Aeldari character. I want to see Veil Walker on the table so I can shoot her the hell off.
I actually left her off waiting to see if you would mention her and then forgot I did that.
Oh man,
so
we just flew through there and then I was like, hold on, I did have someone noted down for this. The answer is Veil Walker. That's my Aeldari pick, is I want to see Veil Walker on the table.
Soz Kaigano, we need another Harley Quinn character.
That's it. Alright, let's move away from space elves and we will talk about space fish instead.
Tau?
Let's cross Tau off the list.
What have you got for Tau, Johnny?
I want to see more Vespid. I want to see an expansion on Vespid, maybe like something a little different than just generic bug with gun. I think that overall the Tau have a huge amount of possibilities for these like beast-like races, and I think that even if it's not Vespid, maybe give us something other than Cruton Vespid. Give us one of their other many auxiliary races.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's all I really have for them, is give us more auxiliaries that aren't lizards and bugs.
Yep. I have that as well. I have a couple of ideas. Nothing. A lot of the other Xenos races I have very minimal notes. Don't worry. But yeah, I think upgrade sprues for other aspects of the Tau auxiliaries could be fun. Guardsmen, Votan, Space Marines, and Sororitas are all possibly or confirmed to actually have rebelled and gone over to the greater good. Maybe an upgrade sprue for those could be a nice, easy way to integrate some new units and also to focus at greater good.
Imagine a Tau Auxiliaries kill team with bespoke races.
Do you remember our Kill Teams episode?
Yes.
That was my idea.
That's why I decided to plug it here. Bringing it
Good
all
boy.
back.
Good boy. You're a good boy.
But yeah, for the most part, Tau's a pretty easy one. Just give us more stuff.
Another idea.
Yeah.
Give us the 8.
Oh, yeah.
The Farsight Enclave's head command.
Yep.
Don't just give me Farsight. Give me Farsight and the homies.
Farsight and friends.
Farsight and the homies. Cool.
Cool.
That's all I had to say.
GSC. GSC.
GSC.
What have you got for the rogues,
For the cult.
the cultists, the gene stealer hybrids?
3 ideas.
Oh, 3 ideas.
Idea 1. More mining vehicles. I have an idea in my brain for a titanic excavator, like the things that you see in quarries.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. Just dripping with bodies.
Like a big tip truck as a transport, right?
Oh, big tip truck. Idea number 2. An Imperial Agents, maybe upgrade sprue, maybe unit, but we're talking like nobles, but they're a little twisted. Inquisitors, but they're a little twisted. Rogue trader in Entourage, but they're a little twisted. Just to really reinforce that Gene Stealer cults aren't just miners and the underpaid, overworked mob. They're also everybody else.
Yeah, they really work their way up the society lines. I could go with the easy one and be like, just give us Melstrain from Necromunda, but in 40k, as like a tech hybrid sub-faction of GSC. But I would like to see like a jump pack version of GSC, something with like weird little grav packs used as like mining asteroids that they've recommissioned into jump packs. I think that'd be really cool to see.
Do you remember our Kill Team episode, Johnny? Good boy.
I've had a lot of Kill Team on my mind recently.
Because that was another of my ideas, Johnny.
Just gonna vomit your own vomit back at you, eh?
Hey, at least you're paying attention to me. That's all I can ask.
Leagues of Votann. Obviously, we said these guys need a total range, like second wave of release. But
Super easy ideas.
yeah, what are your super easy ideas? Because mine is very, very simple.
I have ideas, but I want to hear your ideas.
I want more beards.
Upgrade sprue of beards.
I feel like, in my opinion, Votann just don't do dwarf well for me. I would like to see either like head swaps for this sort of thing, or maybe focus on a little bit more of the like Grimnir way of doing it. I really like Grimnir as a model. It kind of gives this like fantasy wizardy sort of vibe, and I think him having a unit of psychers would be pretty cool. I am also a big fan of their Thunderkin, so anything with their little exosuits would be sick to me. And then, obviously, give me Train.
Land Train!
Give Train, please. But that's my 3 ideas that I had for Votann, is beards, more of the Thunderkin sort of vibe, and big Train.
Big Train!
Imagine that's their Titanic unit that they get, is just big, long Train.
And you can use it as cover. That'd be cool.
Yeah, right?
Pretty much just iterating on what you said. I think we could have more exosuit stuff. We could have automata, you know. They're not obviously too fussed about AI, these little dwarf guys. So maybe you have a couple of automata, dreads, or little knights, you know, just big mining suits in a similar vein to like knights. You know, they all started from a relatively similar template.
Like maybe something war dog sized.
Yeah, something war dog size, maybe a big like dwarven hammer or something instead though.
Ooh,
that could be cool.
that would be cool.
On top of like the whole bearded thing, I think you could do stuff with the various leagues that they have announced. There's like 5 or 6 of them. You know, one looks a bit more fiery and red, one's a bit more tradey and green, you know.
Yeah.
You could have like upgrade sprues to be like, if you get this, you've got more of a fire slayer style. If you go this, you've got more of a fantastical dwarf, beards, axes. If you go with this one, you've got more of like the artificer stuff. Maybe they got like the Caradron overlords, like metallic face helmets.
Please.
Just give option. Give option.
Give option, please.
And why not have some sort of Necromunda integration? You've got a really fantastic squat prospectors range over there. They look great.
Use your models.
Use
right?
it. Easy way to move some Necromunda stuff by allowing you to play it in 40k. Easy.
Cool. Nice and simple. Moving on, let's go from our space dwarves to our space bugs. I'm just going to throw you all around the place so that I confuse the hell out of you with whatever you've got documented.
You haven't succeeded yet, sorry.
What would you like to see for NIDS?
Nothing. I think they're fine.
Honestly, I kind of agree. I think they're fine.
Yeah, I think you could do some stuff along the lines of the Norn, the big hive queenie stuff. Maybe you do something maybe with some like fortification-y stuff like capillary towers and reclamation pools. Overall, though, I think they got plenty of bugs. I don't think they need more bugs. Maybe just some more other things. Maybe you got like some aerial drone kind of thing. Maybe a bit more of a spore mine overhaul. Things that's more representative of the other bioforms of Tyranids rather than just assault bugs.
The only thing I had for Tyranids was give us an update to the Gene Stealers. That's literally it. Like, everything else is fine. I would have said Raveners, but spoiler alert, they're coming. So that kind of just leaves Gene Stealers in that, like, awkward, weird-looking turd phase. Everything else, I'm like, yeah, Tyranids are one of the better off lineups, in my opinion, in terms of, like, having what they need. They've kind of just got their stuff together.
I agree.
Orky boys, the mushrooms.
Orcs, grots.
Grots?
Grot revolutionaries.
Alright, we went in different directions here. I wanted looter upgrade sprues. Upgrade sprues for Imperial and Xenos and Chaos vehicles to make them into battle wagons and stuff like that. I want like almost like the Battlefield trophies, but it's just like a big box of orc bits to attach to stuff.
That's very fun.
And just be like, it's a bunch of armor plates and spiky bits and pipes and weird looking jetpacks and all of that weird orc looted stuff in like one box.
I love that.
I think it'd be super cool.
Yeah, most orc players have more fun if they have bits from other projects in the past, so bypassing that would be great.
And I think it would also make orcs into this like hybrid looted get stuff from other things and run it sort of vibe again, which is something they used to do a lot of. Obviously they moved away from that a little bit, but it still exists and it's still an aesthetic that a lot of orc players love, is the scrappy thrown together mix of vehicles and nonsense, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the direction I went as well with the whole Grot revolutionaries. Like, have the Grots take over the Imperial Guard tanks, or have their own like little baby tanks, or maybe like little Grot flyers. Yeah, similar to what you've said. Just I went with the Grots direction.
Cool. All right, that leaves us with the last but not least for Xenos armies.
Beep boop.
What do the robots need?
Why don't you just go back and look through our catalogue and go for the Necrons Ideas episode from Tomb to Tabletop. We talk about Necrons for about an hour.
Yeah.
Exactly on this topic.
Exactly, and that's why I want to cover this really quickly, but if I had to just throw something in here, give us New Catan out of Finecast. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Just get rid of those old Finecast Catan and give us updated models on the like scale and awesomeness that is the Void Dragon.
Heck yeah. I would be pleased with that too. Maybe a canoptic structure or two as well, and I'll be in good.
Yeah. As two players who started our journeys with Necrons, right? Like, don't want to fill the whole episode with Necron wants and needs, but nice and easy.
There's a whole episode about Necrons wants and needs if you want to go listen to that. We did it already. We did it already. Listen to that. Listen to the Kill Team episode. Go on.
Would you like to guide us through the armies of the Imperium?
I completely forgot we haven't done them yet.
Yeah, I wanted to distract you a little bit. And that's why I'm going to
Good job.
Throw us back, give people a reason to keep listening, you know? They want to hear that Imperium stuff, they have to wait a little longer. And then we'll wrap up with Chaos after that.
Should I just be pretty quick about Imperium because I don't have so much to say about them?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'll go through some rapid fires, and then I'll throw it back to you afterwards.
Sounds good.
All right, Imperial Agents. I think you have an untapped potential about coming up with your own Inquisitor warbands. Make a relatively expert-style kit where you can make your own Inquisitor from a bunch of bits, and then you have either within the same kit or maybe a separate kit, a bit of a retinue kit in the vein of the Kill Team stuff to make your own dudes, and all the stat sheets are super complicated and you have to really think about what you're doing. Boom, there you go. Good step. Imperial Guard, we just got Deathcore of Krieg, we got Ratlings, we got an addition to Tempestus Scions. Cadians are already eating good, but where are the rest? Where are Catachan? Where are Steel Legion? Where are Vostroyans, Mordians, Talon? Just take your pick, but I would say Catachan's probably most popular. Do that one first. Imperial Knights, we'll come back to it. Adeptus Sororitas, I put in an idea for more ecclesiarchy/churchy stuff. Penitents, Ministorum Priests. Hilariously, the new Kill Team announcement meets this criteria already with the Sanctifier Kill Team. But you can bring back Crusaders, you could bring back Death Cult Assassins as their own unit, why not? Adeptus Mechanicus, hello, Horus Heresy range, done, bring them over. Adeptus Custodes, hello, Forge World models, all the vehicles and dreadnoughts, put them into plastic, go. Sisters of Silence, you could add a couple of HQs like Abyssal Knights or the Raptora Cadra, more on that later. Imperial Knights, we're back to it now. What about some foot soldiers, Johnny? What if we went with a whole sort of medieval approach? We could have bannermen. We could have blacksmiths, which improve weapons if they're, standing next to the knight tinkering away. Armorers, the opposite side of the coin. They're like your tech priest version. We could have a seneschal to improve OC. We could have falconers to help with a new indirect fire knight. Stuff like that. Medieval Imperial Knights. That was my idea. What you think?
I'm sitting here cursing at myself for not going first because you hit a couple of my nails. But, sure, let's rapid fire as well, shall we? Adeptus Sororitas, give me some cool look. They have so many cool characters. I want to see, a bigger dreadnoughty style, super penitent engine. Something really cool, covered in stuff. Maybe it's 2 or 3 people attached, all in pain. Custodes, yes, Forge World already did it for you, just give us plastic models. They have so many cool vehicles, and half of their range and are already reliant on Forge World. Easy wins. Mechanicus, as you said, just give us the automatons from 30k. Nice and easy. Astra Militarum, Catachan is the correct answer. I would like to see Steel Legion. I think they have a really cool thing, and I like big tanks. Imperial Agents, I want to see an army rule.
Yeah, good one.
Just actually flesh them out as a full army and not as a supplement. Not as half a supplement, because they put more effort into their Space Marine supplements. Imperial Knights, yes, I want, futuristic medieval people. I want to see the peasants and the blacksmiths and all of these things brought forward into this almost steampunky medieval feel. I think that would be really cool. Having a bunch of supporting characters, some really crappy peasant cultist sort of vibes, and just have a bunch of little dudes running around in amongst your big knights. I think that's exactly what they need. And it would help diversify them from just being Canis Rex with Imperial Agents. But yeah, no, that's the armies of the Imperium. Most of them are covered, but most of them are covered by other ranges that they're doing in other games. And I think that if we wanted to, we could even go as far as saying Astra Militarum, give them super heavies from 30k. There's so many tanks, dude.
Like a Malcador Infernus tank,
Imagine
Johnny.
Malcador in 40k. Like, I could cover almost all of the armies of the Imperium by just saying 30k brought forward.
What a concept.
Now we get to my love.
Well, since I took point on Imperium, you should definitely take point on Chaos.
Let's talk about Chaos. I am going
Go,
to
boy.
tick off the first box, which is Chaos Demons. I don't necessarily think they need much. I would like to see a couple more undivided demons. Maybe like a battle line specifically for undivided. Everything else, like, they have a pretty fleshed out range, and I think that there's a couple of things happening in AOS that they could bring over. But for the most part, like, knowing we're not getting a codex for them, I kind of put them a little on the wayside. And they have so many detachments at the moment that it's more a balancing issue than anything else. Although availability of models is a problem. CSM. I would like to see a supplemental codex in the similar way that we got for Space Marines. I want to see... It doesn't even have to be like, this is specifically the Word Bearers Codex. Like, just tick off a couple new detachments with different stuff and give them all a couple of models. Like, just flesh out some of the basic warbands. I think that'd be cool. For Death Guard, I don't really know what they need. I think Death Guard are fine. I don't think they need anything new. I feel like, if anything, give them a secondary or like another battle line unit that can share out some of their characters. Because at the moment, they've got like 50 characters that all go into one unit. And I think diversifying that a little bit would make some nice choices. Emperor's Children, they just need more stuff. Give them back some of the Chaos Space Marine generic vehicles. Is the easiest way I can think to put that one. World Eaters.
Yeah.
World Eaters got shafted, and they need a lot.
Yeah.
They need a total new range, and I can't cover that right now in just this. But give us some mounted units, maybe something aerial, and a bespoke Terminator squad, and I would be pretty happy with what that accomplishes in terms of their codex. Thousand Suns needs some anti-tank outside of Magnus. At the moment, you feel like you have to run Magnus because he's your only real way of dealing with big stuff. And while Magnus is sick, I would like to see something else that can deal with tanks and like those big units, because outside of that, you've got your infantry covered pretty well. Maybe like a big sorcerer version of a dreadnought, but specifically them, or a bigger robot than the secateurs that we just got, but with psychic powers. I think that'd be cool. Chaos Knights. I don't think Chaos Knights need foot soldiers right now. If you want foot soldiers, you can run your Cult. They also have access to a lot of units in the Demons. I would like to, if we were going to go down the realm of like a small human-like unit, maybe pulling from Dark Mech and going with like Tech Thralls or something like that. Otherwise, I would like to see a medium knight. Something between War Dogs and Questoris, or a different pattern of knight. But that's what I've got for Chaos in a very quick and roundabout way of doing it, seeing as we spent so much time in the first half.
Space Marines, man.
What about you?
I actually have a surprising amount of ideas for most of these things.
Oh, so did I, but I didn't want to go too in depth. But we can wrap back around and discuss if you've got some ideas. I'm happy to hear them.
Oh, absolutely. We don't need to kneecap this episode if we don't need to.
No.
But I got some ideas for just about everybody.
All right.
Who do you want to hear first?
Let's start with demons.
Demons. Besides bringing some of them back, I think undivided demons need their time, just like you said. I think before they announced Shadow Legion, it would have been the perfect way to bring back Bellacor's relevance with the Shadow Army. I looked at demons' range across its existence. Horus Heresy has something known as Demons of the Ruin Storm. They were the first sort of demons the Imperium kind of met, but they weren't really one of the four. They were the the ambiguous middle ground between chaos. So I had a few ideas. We could bring in shrikes, which are bat-winged, flying, or even cavalry options.
Oh, that's cool.
Brutes, which are exactly as you would think, just these lumbering, hulking things. As well, some, greater undivided demons known as behemoths. Think like the Diablo lords.
Yeah.
That was chaos demons.
Yeah, I think, I totally agree. Fleshing out Chaos Undivided would be a really cool way to do demons in the future. If we wanted to talk about, range refreshers, hot damn, do they have some old models still?
Who do you want to hear next?
Let's discuss moving from undivided demons, undivided chaos space marines. What have you got for the generic CSM?
I think what they did with the Nemesis Claw kill team was a perfect way to get some of those lesser represented warbands, into the spotlight a bit. Why don't we have an Alpha Legion one or an Iron Warriors one? They'd be quite easy to do. That's really all I had in mind, was either a kill team or a Legion upgrade sprue. They are starting, or they're not starting, they've got a couple of books in a series known as Renegades right now, which are novels focusing around the sort of new players on the block of the Chaos Legions. We had the Harrow Master, which is Solomon Akura, who is now wielding the Spear of Alfarius.
Nice.
The Pale Spear, I believe it's called. So we could easily have Solomon Akura as a character.
I would honestly just love a character for each of the detachment-themed legions.
Yeah. The second book in Renegades was The Lords of Excess, so Emperor's Children character known as Xantine, who is the lord of a warband known as the Adored. And I think you could do Xantine and the Adored for Emperor's Children. As you mentioned in our Emperor's Children reaction episode, go listen, like a old style of Emperor's Children, the pretty boys who aren't super twisted.
Yeah.
Because they want to be adored. They don't want to be
the perfectionists.
They don't want to be seen as the crazy, cousins of what's going on at the moment. They want to be remembered for the old ways.
All right.
But that's all I really had for CSM.
Cool, I love it.
Although I do have an asterisk for Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah.
Which is, you could, if you really wanted to, do Agents of Imperium style, but go Agents of Chaos. A couple of more kill teams or other units, and you could have the Dark Mirror, the Agents of Chaos, or the Lost and the Damned. That's an idea.
Sure is. Did you have anything for Death Guard?
Sure did.
Good, because that was one of the ones I had the most trouble with, deciding what they needed. Their range just looks so good.
I had a look through some of the old units that was ran by the Death Guard in the Great Crusade and the early Horus Heresy.
Yep.
I have a few ideas, though. We could go with a unit I'm calling the Grave Wardens, a heavy weapon Terminator squad, closer resembling Obliterators, which seems quite Death Guard-y if you think about it,
does.
Obliterators.
Yep.
We could have the Mortis Poisoners, who are chemical warfare infantry. They could be like a torrent unit if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And you could, have them be led more specifically by characters, so it's not all Plague Marines. You could have maybe the Purifier go with them. But also Bombardiers flying overhead, not with jump packs, but janky turbines that are fused to the Marines and have a little bit of a trypophobia with flies and other insects coming out of the turbine and just
yeah, cool.
with grenades and stuff, fly over units and do mortal wounds whoever they flew over. Another idea though, I actually have 3 more ideas. Hot damn!
You went deep on Death Guard.
An aircraft Zeppelin that expands contagion range, but instead of being a Zeppelin, it's called the Flesh Bag.
Ugh, icky.
Ugh.
I love it. I do like the idea of Zeppelins for Death Guard, though. I think that's really flavorful. Well played.
Diesel Punk was my idea for all of these.
Yep.
We could bring back the old Nurgle Plague Toads, but you can have them be ridden by cultists, or maybe a lone Plague Marine with cultists hanging on, or maybe they're sort of sucked on to the slimy skin of the Plague Toads. And my other idea is a shambling silo, another demonic engine, but it's just a smokestack that's crawling. Like a
Ugh.
crab with a shell, but it's a smokestack and it's just artillery plague.
That's pretty cool.
That's Death Guard.
All right. I'll jump to Emperor's Children because I forgot one of my other ideas, but I will let you talk first. What did you have for EC?
I want to hear yours.
A lot of this is inspiration from other means, but I want a vehicle that is a Noise Marine vehicle based on the guitarist from Mad Max.
Yes,
I
Johnny.
want that as a centerpiece vehicle model. I think that would be absolutely sick, and it's something I've always wanted for Emperor's Children, and it slipped my mind in the rush, but Mad Max style Noise Marine guitarist strapped to a death machine covered in speakers.
I love that chaos was where we forgot things because we went for a bit of a rush.
I got into
Seems very chaos.
It does, right? But no, that was my big Emperor's Children one. What did you have for EC?
EC, when before they announced it, I had like some notes like, oh, what are we gonna get? Looking at the HH range and like what they used to be as a Legion. I think easily you could bring in Eidolon and the Phoenix Guard.
Yep.
You could bring in Doom Rider and some bike rider mobs. Doom Rider is an old model. You can look it up. It's fun. You could have, I guess, similar to what you were just describing with the Noise Marine on the thing, but I called them Blissful Chariots. You could have Cultists, but they're not called Cultists. They're called Hedonists.
Yep.
Obviously. The Sonic Dreadnought.
Yep, a popular one for a lot of people.
Yeah, and then a couple of their actual units that they used to have, like the Sun Killers, which were their like Devastator Marines, their Havocs. But I thought they could be like this mutated energy weapon wielding centaur that's like half marine, half fleshy demon.
Oh, nice.
And also the Eagle King with like an Emperor Children Raptor style, which instead of like Marines are again like a half marine, half like flying serpent aerial unit. And just really lean into the excessive possession.
Cool. All right. I think Emperor's Children could have a pretty sick looking army. What about World Eaters?
I was gonna say, what do you want next, World Eaters? Let's see. Again, similar to like Chaos Space Marines, I think the writing's on the wall for what could be next, and that's just simply all the things that already exist in the lore, like the Red Butcher Terminators, Berserker Surgeons. Expanding out, you could have like Jackal Hounds, which are like bike riding cultists, similar to what we saw in the secret level Amazon animation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you could have, the classic Berserkers on Juggernauts, of course. You could have some sort of range unit, like maybe it's Berserkers, but they all have Flamers or something, because the kill, maim, burn. And then all the sort of Forge Worldy stuff, of course, if you wanted to bring in some Demon Engines, the Khitan, the Brass Scorpion, the Slaughter Fiends, that kind of thing. Very, very easy to answer. Just the things we already know exist would be fine.
The things that everyone already wanted. All right.
Yeah.
What about my beloved Sandy Boys, the Necrons of Chaos?
What? Yeah. This is going to make my answer even funnier now. What if a monolith?
Ooh.
What if you have a sort of ode to the planet of the sorcerers / their old homeworld of, like, I think it's Tiska, where they had actual pyramids, but now through the planet of the sorcerers in the warp, they have become these absolute batteries of psychic energy and spell casting. And these are like a super heavy vehicle, like a Necron monolith, except it looks more like an actual pyramid, but they got all these runes, maybe like Zinchian eyes and random hands, and maybe it's a loft on wings rather than like grav shoots or anything like that. And this is just like your over there, mega etheric Doombolt does strength 20,
blah blah blah,
2d6 damage. Yeah,
and it fits in with the I want something else anti-tank. And I think that would be a really cool centerpiece model.
Yeah, and then what you already said.
All right.
That just leaves
That just
one more.
leaves one more.
We talked about it to death, but Chaos Knights, right?
That's it.
Get that epic hero out. Get a Dark Knight or a Black Knight or something
please.
like that.
Hatred of Crastalin.
Hatred of Crastalin. It's right there. Just do that.
They have the chaos antithesis to Canis Rex. Like, just make it happen, you know?
Make it happen. Listen to our Canis Rex episode for more on the hatred of Crastalix. Beside that, I think a Feral Knight could be quite fun. You know, nothing like too clean, like something that's sort of falling apart, or maybe they're a bit more animalistic. You know, maybe they got like an on all fours kind of pose with like shoulder artillery or something.
Make it a demon engine. Give it like demonic bits. Make it, you know, bulging flesh between joints. Like, yeah, no, that'd be absolutely sick.
And it would be. And if we were to do a mirror to the Imperial Knights, which we did rapid fire, but if you think of medieval Imperial Knights, what's the Dark Ages inversion of that? You know, you've got
Dark Mech is what I was thinking is, let's turn Chaos Knights into like this Dark Mech hybrid.
I think that's very fair. Like, if you're building up like Lost in the Damned and CSM to maybe offshoot them in the future, you could do that again with Chaos Knights and Dark Mech.
Yep.
I didn't go down that path because I think they could just be their own army, Dark Mech, but I love the idea of it. Just bring in your Dark Ages twisted sort of prototype Chaos cultists. You know, it's sword and shield guys, but the swords are on fire and the shields are strapped with bodies. You know, you got like torturers who are wheeling around like ballistas, but it's people on the ballistas and their blood are being turned into missiles, you know, just like crazy stuff.
You want like AOS destruction vibes, but more blood.
That'll do, yeah. Ogre more tribes, now in 40k.
Nah, sick.
I think that's it. I think that's all the factions, man.
That's all the factions. We managed to get there. I think it really goes to show just how much room for growth this game still has, right? Whether it be stuff from the past or stuff that hasn't quite been realized yet or stuff from the future, you know? Like, there's so much room for GW to just, like, expand and grow as a company in this game that's kind of coming into the norm at this point.
Yeah, everyone's heard of it.
Yeah, but also it's like, it doesn't quite have that nasty taste it used to have 10 years ago, you know?
It's a bit cleaner.
It's getting a bit more pop culture-y, coming out in the limelight as all the nerds get more popular, you know?
Yeah, the game's more streamlined. The art, whilst there are some darker aesthetics out there, that it's not all so bad and grim and nerdy looking. Like, you look at it like, that's a sci-fi art. The models themselves obviously have a good artistic merit. The kits themselves are straightforward, not too many options. YouTube, got tutorials for days.
Oh yeah. But that's our little rant on what we think the factions of 40k could receive, what they need, what we want.
Last question.
Yeah, go on.
If you were to add a faction or two, what would they be? Who?
I don't want to say Dark Mech, but Dark Mech. Because we did talk about them kind of already. I would like to see maybe a returning old race of, whether it be like space lizards, like give us the Seraphon version for 40k, or bring back the old ones as a threat, or, something ethereal, Xenos related, and maybe they are chaos corrupted, or maybe this is, chaos is getting out of hand, so the few remaining great ones have to come out of hiding after all this time. Maybe that's what spurned the original Necron re-emergence in the universe, and they run back some lore, because we know they like to do that. I know that every part of this galaxy is under galaxy-ending threat, but, something old and ancient returning, I think would be really cool.
I love that. I think we could combine our answers together, my friend.
Oh, yeah?
Because whilst I wasn't thinking old ones, I do love the idea of it. The old ones are essentially the Slann.
Yeah.
in Sigma, like the Seraphon. Yeah, my answer was going to be the Exodites because elves on dragons and dinosaurs and stuff is very fun as, a imagination exercise. But the elves are creations of the old ones. The Exodites, went to their maiden worlds to get back to like this old way of life. What if the faction is just the old ones? And you've got Slann, you've got lizards, you've got Exodites.
You could even go so far as Crocs as as an auxiliary to their army, is like their big brutish old-fashioned orcs that they used to have. It's like the old ones are bringing back some of the things they made to deal with the Necrons. And in the lore, the Exodites maybe reawakened the old ones.
Maybe they always knew, and that's why they were so secretive. They're like, yeah, we have the secret burner phone.
Yeah. It's like things have gone to shit enough that maybe it's time to wake up the old dads.
Yeah, we came to these worlds not to get away, but to get ready.
Yep. I think that would be a really cool way of going about introducing a new threat to the universe.
And I'm totally confident GW would handle that as neatly and epically as we just described.
They'd release a book, a model, and promises.
Oh, a book? Wow.
Arcs of Omen 2.0,
All right, my friend. Any last closing remarks before we have to get ready for a game night?
I really enjoy doing these sort of like hypothetical episodes, and I really hope that comes across with the audience as well, and that they enjoy it as well, because it's the what ifs are good fun. They give me list building sort of vibes, like it's the same as building lists for me. It's like, what if I made this work? What if I could do this? What could this be? I really like those sort of questions and episodes.
Me too. And if you've made it to this part of the episode and you're listening in and you've listened to other episodes in the past, surely by now you've put together we're not just a lore podcast, we're not just a strategy podcast, we're not just a news podcast, we just go where we are excited by. 1 week will be lore, 1 week will be this, next week will be maybe lore again, but it could also be a codex review, It could even be something completely different. It'll be like, hey Johnny, I'm going to tell you about the lore of Infinity and 4, and you'll be like, what? And I'll be like, exactly.
We are a hobby podcast. We are two blokes. We are not hyper competitive. We're not super skilled painters. We're not any of these one or the other. We are your average Joes just having a blast with this hobby, and that's why our schedule is a little all over the place in terms of which topic is next, It's what has our focus right now? What do we think would be cool to talk about today?
Hell yeah.
Alright, well, I need to get ready to throw some Chaos Knights at my opponents.
Knights, Lord. Alright, take us home, my boy.
Have a lovely time hobbying. Enjoy, well, for us it's a 3-day work week this week, so enjoy for those that have that luxury, and we will see you all and speak to you all next time.